We are now on operations on fractions. And for operations on fractions, we have A, addition of fractions. B, subtraction of fractions. C, multiplication of fractions. And the last operation is division of fractions. Because basically there are four main operations in mathematics. We have addition, subtraction, multiplication, and what? Division. So we have four operations on fractions. So we will take addition of fractions, addition of fractions, addition of fractions, addition of fractions, addition of fractions. For addition of fractions, we find LCM. LCM. One may ask the meaning of LCM because this is an abbreviation. L means least, C means common, and M is multiple. So once we combine this one, we call it least common multiple. Least common multiple. Least common multiple. So let's see how we find the least common multiple, so that when we start with the main questions it becomes simple. Least common multiple. For example, if I give you these two numbers, find the LCM for 2 and 3. Find the LCM for 2 and 3. The first step is to find the multiples for these numbers. And always, if I ask you to find the multiple of a number, it starts from that same number. So this means this one will start from 2. You add 2 to this, we are getting 4. 2 to this, we are getting what? 6. Plus 2 is what? 8. 10. 12. Let me end here. Even though we can get several numbers for multiples of 2. Multiples of 3 we will start from this number, which is 3. This means this one too, we will add 3 to this one. 3 plus 3 is 6. We add the same numbers to it. So 3 plus 6, we are getting 9. 3 plus 9, we are getting 12. 3 plus 12 is what? 15. Let us end here. We now know our multiples for these two numbers. So we will move on to the common multiple. That is the second step, the common multiple. So common multiple. Common multiple. If I say common multiple, we want to know these two multiples. Which one appears in 2 and at the same time appears in 3? You see that we have 2 here, but 2 can't be found here. So it is not a common multiple. We have 4 here, but there is no 4 here. They are not what? Common. But let's take 6. 6 is here, 6 is here. So the first common multiple is what? 6. 8 is here. 8 is not here. So we don't have common multiples for 8. But 12 here, 12 here. So 12. And the clue for this one is that once you get the first common multiple, once you see the first common multiple, that one is your least common multiple. I repeat, once you get your first common multiple for these two numbers, once you get your first common multiple for these two numbers, that one is the LCM. So the LCM is what? 6. The least common multiples for these two numbers is what? 6. Let us take another example. Let us take another example. Find the LCM for 2 and 6. Or let me change it. For 3 and 4. For 3 and 4. The first step is our multiple. The first step is our multiples. So the multiples of 3, you start from 3 times. 3 to 6. Or you be adding 3 to the value you get. 3 plus 6 is what? 9. 3 plus 9 is what? 12. 3 plus 12, 15. 3 plus 15, 18. Let us end here. Let's move on to 4. Let's find the multiples of 4. So it will start from 4. 4 plus 4 is what? 8. 4 plus 8, 12. 4 plus 12, 16. 4 plus 16, 20. There is no need to list all the multiples for these numbers. What we are interested in is to get the common multiple and also the least common multiple. So the next step is our common multiple. Common multiple. And the common multiples for this and this, we are getting the first number as what? 12. The first number as 12. Even though we can get common multiples, several common multiples for 3 and 4, but we are only interested in the first common multiple. Because as I said, always the first common multiple is our least common multiple. That's what we are interested in. So our LCM for 3 and 4 is what? 12. That's our answer. So I'm now done with least common multiple. Once I'm done with least common multiple, let me move on to addition of fractions. Addition of fractions. So for addition of fractions, we find our LCM, but we will take it step by what? Step. So the first one is addition of fraction, involving addition of fraction involving a natural number and a proper fraction This is our first heading under addition of fraction. So I said another name for natural number is whole number in our previous lesson. Another name for natural number is what? Whole number. And whole numbers, we have examples as 2 whole number, 3 whole number, 4 whole number. And we now know what proper fractions are. Thus, a fraction in which the numerator is less than the denominator. So, if I give you example as simplify 2 plus 1 over 2. Simplify 2 plus 1 over 2. As I define mixed fraction, I define mixed fraction as a fraction that has a natural number and a what? Proper fraction. So this is simple. We just add 2 plus 1 over 2. We are getting 2 whole number, 1 over what? 2. But because we now have a mixed fraction, we change it to improper fraction. We change it to what? Improper fraction. That's why I first taught you those headings. So to change this one to improper fraction, I said you multiply the denominator of the proper fraction by this whole number and you add the numerator to it. So 2 by 2 is what? 4 plus 1. We are getting what? 5 over 2. That's our final answer. Let's take the second example. Let's take our second example. Add 6 to 2 over 3. Add 6 to 2 over 3. It's a matter of you just writing the question as 6 plus 2 over 3. And this is the same as 6 whole number 2 over 3. 3 by 6 is what? 18. 3 times 6 is 18. Plus 2. We are getting 20 over 3. I believe this one is what? Simple. Adding whole numbers to proper fraction. Let's move on to addition of fraction. Addition of fraction involving same denominator. addition of fraction involving same denominator. And this is the second part, that is B. So you may be given an example as simplify 1/2. 1/2 plus 1/2. You see, we are having the same denominators as 2. So we find the LCM. And always, if you are given the same denominators, you choose one of the numbers as your what? LCM. Because they are same what? Denominators. So you write your LCM as what? 2. They will mark this one for you because this is very important. They will ask you, how did you get your what? LCM. So you should indicate it while solving it. So we now bring our division sign and bring our LCM at the bottom. 2 goes into 2, how many? 1. 1 times 1 is what? 1. Plus 2 goes into 2, how many? 1. 1 times 1 is what? 1. So 1 plus 1, we are getting what? 2/2. And I taught you reducing fraction to its lowest term. And to reduce fraction to its lowest term, I said you find a common divisor. And the common divisor for 2 and 2 is what? 2. Because 2 goes here what? 1. The same common divisor must go into the same denominator, which is what? 1. And 1/1 is the same as what? 1 whole number. This is our answer. Let's take the second example. Let's take our second example. Let's take our second example. Second example. 2. Add 3/5 to 2 whole number, 2, 4 whole number, 1/5. You see, this time I have given you a proper fraction and a mixed fraction. And always note that once you are given a mixed fraction in the question, you must change that mixed fraction to improper fraction. That is why it was necessary for I to teach you changing mixed fractions to improper fractions. So you change this one to what? Improper fraction. So it becomes 3/5 plus 4 whole number, 1/5. Because once you don't change this one to improper fraction, you cannot what? Solve the question. How will you solve it? You can't tackle it. So 3/5 plus changing this one, you multiply 5 by 4, we are getting what? 20. 20 plus 1 is what? 21/what? 5. Instead of them to give you the question as 3/5 plus 21/5, they gave you one mixed fraction. So you should change that mixed fraction to what? Improper what? Fraction. So the next step is to find the LCM. And I said once they have the same denominators, you choose one as your what? LCM. So the LCM is 5. You bring your division sign. 5. 5 goes into 5, how many? 1. 1 times 3 is what? 3. Plus 5 goes into 5, how many? 1. 1 times 21 is what? 21. So 21 plus 3, we are getting what? 24/what? 5. And this is an improper fraction because the numerator is greater than what? The denominator. So 5 goes into 24, how many? 4. Remember, 4 over 5. Let's move on to the last part and the addition of fractions. And we are now on addition of fraction involving different denominator. Addition of fraction involving different denominator. So example 1. Simplify 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3. 1 over 2 plus what? 1 over 3. They can give you about 3 fractions. Even though I'm giving you 2, but they can add 1 over what? 4. They can give you 4 fractions, 5 fractions, but I'm just giving you what? 2. So 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3. For this time, we have different denominators, so you cannot choose one as your what? LCM. So you use the method that I used to find what? LCM. And once you know your least common multiple, that's you know your multiples for 2 and 3, there is no need to use that calculation. And I indicated that the first common multiple is always your least what? Common multiple. So the LCM for 2 and 3, using that method I thought would be what? 6. Because they are common multiples, the first one will be 6. So this means this one is the what? LCM. So you bring your division sign. 2 goes into 6, how many? 3. Because 2 people going to share 6 oranges, each one will get what? 3. 3 times 1 is what? 3. Plus 3 goes into 6, how many? 2. 2 times 1 is what? 2. So 3 plus 2, we are getting what? 5 over 6. This is our final answer. Let's take the last example. The last example and addition of fractions. Simplify 3 whole number 1 over 8 plus 1 over 4. And once I've given you mixed fraction, you should change it to what? Improper fraction. So 8 by 3 is what? 24 plus 1, 25 over what? 8 plus 1 over 4. Because once you don't change this one to improper fraction, you cannot what? Solve it. So the LCM is what? 8. Because your least common multiple will be 8 once you use my method. So 8. 8 goes into 8, how many? 1. 1 times 25 is what? 25. Plus 4 goes into 8, how many? 2. 2 times 1 is what? 2. So we have 25 plus 2 is what? 27 over what? 8. And for this one, you should change this improper fraction to what? Mixed fraction, because we are now getting what? Improper what? Fraction. So 8 goes into 27, how many? 3 whole number, 3 over 8. So I believe under addition of fractions, we have now what? Understood it using this simplest methodology. So if you are interested in this channel, please subscribe and share it on many platforms for me. Thank you. And this brings us to the end of this session.